Hey guys, Steve Hicks here with Simple Success Fitness. I want to talk today about walking mechanics to alleviate knee pain for people that have knee pains while they walk. Now, a little bit of background on myself. I unfortunately in the summer of 2019 had a catastrophic knee injury. I had a tibial plateau fracture, which means pretty much the floor of my knee, if you want to call it the floor, started to open up. And my femur pushed into that little defect. Not a good scenario. It required surgery to repair, and now I am the unfortunate owner of a steel rod, 5 pins, and 3 screws. And from my time beyond that, I've kind of been working on my proper biomechanics while I'm walking so that I can regain the capacity to walk pain-free. And I want to share that. There's various different reasons why you would have knee pain while walking, and it happens to many of us. Whether it's age-related degeneration in the joint, if there's some cartilage damage or disappearance, or if you've had some injury like myself that has caused some knee issues while walking, I think these biomechanics will help alleviate some pressure for you. The first thing I want to talk about is proper posture while walking. I want you to be, if you're in a good natural posture, you should be pretty tall, should be nice and erect. And then if you look, all my weight is going to travel down through my body into the ground without very much impact at any of my joints. If I relax and have bad posture and kind of slouch here, there's more sag points. And those sag points all kind of catch, weight bumps into that sag point, and it creates impact rather than allowing weight to travel through to the floor. And we want as much force as we can off the body and into the floor as we can instead of in the joints. Now, usually when people try to work on their posture, they do a little bit of a hiccup and they think about standing tall and they kind of do this where they just throw the chest upwards, and that causes an arch in the back. This isn't good posture. This is bad posture in another way. There's bad posture where you lean over, and there's bad posture where you lean back. What we want to do instead is think about elevate. We want the ribs to come up, and we want the crown of the head to come to the ceiling. These two things should help us stay nice and tall. Now, let's talk about the actual walking mechanics. Normally, when people walk, they'll do a little bit lazy, and they'll reach out with their toes. And as they make impact with the ground, all that force is traveling along my thigh and tries to go through. There's nothing here to support my knee. So that causes extra impact and unnecessary aches and pains. What I want to do instead is I want to lead with the heel, the toes are lifted, and then that creates a nice straight line that all my body weight gets to travel through my leg into the ground. And you can kind of demonstrate this principle on your own just with your arms. If you were to get your hands and kind of put your knuckles together where they fit in that nice groove, and if you push gently, it's pretty easy. There's force traveling from one arm to the other, and it travels through that point of contact pretty smoothly. But if I were to go lazy and have my knee bent and pretend that that's a bent knee, and I start to push into that, that gets a little bit more uncomfortable right away. So that's what we want to avoid. We want to try to have a leg that allows force to travel through it rather than getting bunched up in that bend point. So first step is to walk with that heel, lift the toe up, extend the heel out, and then as you go next, you're going to roll over the foot. That's going to allow your knee to be directly over your ankle. A lot of times, if you do the toe lead, your knee's going to come out here. This is going to be a really sharp angle to push off of and going to cause more wear and tear. So lead with the heel, roll over the ankle, and then the next step, what I want you to do is I want you to actively engage the hamstrings, the back of your thigh, to pull your body forward. It's kind of like a rooster clawing at the ground. You're going to be here and you're going to pull back. Okay? So you're going to lead with the heel, roll to the ankle, and then you're going to use this muscle to pull back. You're going to pull the leg back. Finally, during that pull, when you come up on the toes and push off, I want you to squeeze this glute, this giant chunk of ham you were gifted. I want you to use it for all it's worth. So, heel, roll over the ankle, pull the leg forward, squeeze and push off the toes. It's a nice heel to toe roll that's going to reduce impact and allow you to walk more friendly. Now that's on flat ground. These change a little bit if we go uphill or if we go downhill. Uphill, the biggest thing that I want to do is we're going to take slightly smaller steps because the ground's going to come at us sooner. But the biggest thing that we need to think about is instead of this tall posture here, we're still keep the spine stacked and nice and long, keep the torso long, but we're going to bend at the hips. Because the ground's at a different angle, it kind of shifts all our forces into a different place where if we were on flat ground, essentially what it would be leaning back. Again, we saw how that push forces on the knee instead of through the knee. So bending at the hips realigns our body weight so that our body weight's back over the ankle. All right, and then downhill. Downhill can devastate people's legs, can devastate people's knees. And the reason why is because you actually take a bigger step. As you reach out, instead of touching the ground's below you, so you keep accelerating downwards. We know the physics equation, force equals mass times acceleration. If you step further down, gravity's going to pull on you to get you more acceleration. More acceleration on your body mass means that when you finally touch the ground, you have more force smacking that knee. So we don't want more force. And then we also, so the way that we avoid that, to avoid that extra force from extra acceleration, is we take a smaller step. I also don't want you to flick the heel so much on this one. I just kind of want you to lead with a flat foot. Not with a toe, but with a flat foot. As you go down to the ground, because the ground's sloped away, you'll essentially be with the heel elevated. It'll just be there because the ground's downwards. Now, another thing that people do naturally walking downhill is they'll lean backwards to try to slow down. But with the ground sloping down, that really exaggerates how much we bend the knee as we walk. And we noticed with the posture is just standing tall, that's a lot of impact already. So those are the key points that we want to think about when we're walking if we have knee impact. And I don't expect you to be perfect with that, because realistically, there's 4 things to think about on every step. And as you go along, each second you'll take about an average of 3 steps. That's 12 things to think about just each second. In 60 seconds, 1 minute, that's going to be 720 different things you have to think about. In a 30-minute walk, that's going to be over 21,000. Now, I don't expect you to be perfect, but I want you to do your best to be cognizant of these things as you walk along. And unfortunately, your body's going to let you know right away if there's something that you're forgetting about. I know with myself personally, when I go for about a 3.5-mile walk, I have to remind myself to maintain a tall posture so that I'm not sagging on my joints about 4 or 5 times during that time span. I have to constantly think about rolling off the foot and pushing with the glutes to keep pressure at bay. And I think about every 5 or 6 minutes, I will get a little signal from my knee reminding me that I have to be diligent about my biomechanics. But give these a try. If you think about them and imply them, or if you think about them and apply them, I think you'll find that there's a lot less pressure at the knee and that you'll have a much better time walking. It may be more tiring because we're more active with the muscles that we're engaging, but it should be less impact on the knee. If it works for you, leave a comment down below. Let everyone else know that it works for you, and have a great day. Enjoy your walks.